Meet Kyle. He has just done exactly what 99% of the financial gurus on YouTube recommend, with a wide, glowing smile. He has finally paid off his very last loan. Kyle is staring at his banking app, where the debt column reads a perfect, clean 0, and he feels like an absolute winner. He thinks this is true freedom, and that he has finally escaped the system. But from the sharp perspective of a Big Four forensic auditor, Kyle has actually just signed a voluntary surrender of his entire capital. While Kyle celebrates his clean 0, he completely fails to notice the invisible thief in the room: inflation. His purchasing power is melting away at a rate of 7% every single year. His money is now dead weight sitting in a low-yield account, while the cost of real assets like land, technology, and energy skyrockets in a rapid geometric progression. Kyle is a perfect mirror for the viewer who fears debt like fire and, because of that fear, remains trapped in the middle class with a 1.0 probability of impact. He is currently playing a defensive game in an offensive world where the rules are written to reward the bold and the leveraged. A typical financial coach, the kind that sells you a course on how to save money on your morning coffee, will tell you that debt is slavery and you should pay everything off to sleep soundly. This is safe advice for the masses to keep the gears of the economy turning without them ever owning the machine. Intended for people who plan to die with a small deposit. Real players, those operating with 9-figure capital and a team of tax lawyers, view debt not as chains, but as a financial derivative of time. Billionaires do not pay off their debts. Instead, they collect them like rare pieces of fine art and constantly refinance them to keep their wealth moving. They use these debts as a surgical tool to shield their massive wealth from the eyes and the reach of the Internal Revenue Service. If you think Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk sell their shares to buy a $100 million yacht, you are 100% wrong. Selling shares is what we call a taxable event, which means triggered realization and a forced payment of 20% in capital gains tax. But taking a loan against those shares results in 0% tax because it is a liability, not income. That is pure mathematical arbitrage. Let us break down the ultimate wealth algorithm for Kyle. In the high-stakes world of private banking, it is known as buy, borrow, die. First, we start with the buy phase. Kyle buys a high-quality, appreciating asset that is designed to gain value over the long term. He avoids buying a car that loses 30% of its value immediately, choosing instead tech stocks or real estate that grows at 12% a year. Instead of selling his asset to get cash and losing a massive chunk to taxes, Kyle goes to a private bank to request a $500,000 line of credit. The bank agrees instantly because the loan-to-value ratio is 50%, which represents a safe harbor for the institution's risk management. The result is staggering. Kyle now has $500,000 in liquid cash ready to be used. He has not paid a single cent in tax because a loan is not considered income by the tax code. Meanwhile, his original $1 million asset continues to grow at a healthy 12%. He is paying the bank 4%, but he is gaining 12% on the exact same capital. His net spread is an 8% growth rate on money that is not even his. He is using the bank's capital to fund his life, while his own wealth remains untouched and compounding. Now, let us go deeper into the forensic offices where real wealth is audited. When you earn $1 as a salary, Uncle Sam takes up to 37% through the progressive tax scale. You are left with 63 cents of purchasing power for every dollar of effort. But when you take $1 in debt, you get 100% of its purchasing power. For Kyle, this sounds completely counterintuitive, leading him to wonder, how can debt be better than income? The secret answer lies in the specific derivative of net worth. Salary is what we call taxed liquidity, which constantly leaks value, while debt is untaxed liquidity, allowing you to keep every single cent of purchasing power. Billionaires use what are known as revolving credit lines, and they never plan to pay back this money out of their own pockets or through their own hard labor. They wait until the value of their assets grows, say from $1 million to $5 million, and then they simply take out a new, larger loan to cover the old one. This is an infinite game of refinancing where the interest rate is always lower than the capital growth rate, a closed loop of exponential growth that the working class is never invited to join. Kyle is used to a linear model where you borrow $100, pay back $110, and ultimately end up $10 poorer. That is the typical consumer psychology that inevitably leads to a zero probability of building any real or sustainable wealth? In the billionaire world, debt is treated as a powerful, nonlinear lever that multiplies capital and opportunities exponentially. When Kyle's asset grows from $1 million to $10 million, he does not sell his position. Instead, he chooses to scale his operations. If his first loan was for $500,000, he now takes a new, much larger loan for $3 million to maintain his momentum. Kyle uses $500,000 to wipe out the old debt completely and keeps $2.5 million for his brand new investments. Kyle has not spent a single cent of his own earned money because he cleared the old debt using new, larger debt backed by a massive, appreciated asset. But what about the risk? Kyle's only real enemy is the margin call, which happens if his asset drops by 40% and the bank demands more collateral. This is why the pros never use 100% of their leverage, staying instead at a conservative loan-to-value ratio of 20 to 30%. This creates a margin of safety where, even in a market crash, their probability of survival remains at 0.99 while they endure the storm. Here is the absolute secret they do not teach in any school. Kyle asks, but eventually, doesn't someone have to pay for this entire banquet? The answer is a surprising yes, but the massive bill never actually reaches Kyle, and it never reaches the tax office either. When Kyle eventually passes away while owing billions to the bank, a powerful legal mechanism called the step-up in basis finally kicks in. Let us look at it on your fingers. Kyle bought his shares for $10, but at the time of his death, they are worth $1,000. His children receive the assets as if they bought them for $1,000 themselves, allowing them to sell and pay off bank loans with 0% tax. Earlier in his journey, Kyle dreamed of having a high salary and wanted to be what we call a HENRY, or a high earner, not rich yet. These people earn $200,000 or $300,000 a year, but they are trapped by high taxes and expensive liabilities, like luxury cars, while struggling to outrun inflation. Their effective tax rate is usually 35%. But thanks to his strategic structural choices, Kyle's effective rate is now less than 3%. Kyle is also learning to use corporate leverage by issuing bonds at 5% and investing that capital into assets with a 15% return. He has realized that in capitalism, money is not a reward for work, but a tool for managing the massive debts of central banks. Look at Kyle now. His navy blazer fits perfectly, but his gaze has changed completely, and he no longer feels any stress when he sees a negative balance on his credit line. For him, these are just numbers in a spreadsheet working tirelessly for his future. In the past, a debt of $10,000 caused him a 90% spike in cortisol, but today, a debt of $10 million only causes a desire to check the bank covenants. This is the ultimate transformation, where he has stopped being a consumer who fears the system and has become an architect of financial flows. He has stopped working for money and instead forced the entire system to work for his legacy. He knows that in the game called capitalism, the winner is not the one who boasts about a debt-free life, but the one whose assets grow faster than their liabilities ever could. Let us summarize this forensic expedition. Number 1, ownership is liability. When you own an asset directly and then sell it, you lose the tax game. Number 2, control is freedom. Use debt leverage to get liquidity without ever losing your long-term control over the asset. Number 3, debt is fuel. In a world where currency constantly depreciates, being a strategic borrower is the only real survival strategy. Kyle smiles as he closes his laptop. He is no longer afraid of the red numbers because he sees them for what they truly are: energy for growth.